Welcome back. When I was a guitar teacher, I met my wife. She was one of my students. I was a year older than her. And one of the things that I learned in music is there's a pattern that you establish when you're songwriting. You can take a set of chords and put them together in an orderly way so that they resolve together. One resolves into the other. And then there's a resolution at the end that brings you back to the beginning again. And it's usually a repeating cycle, kind of like the 7-day week. Only in music they use 8 measures. Usually if it's 4/4 time, there's 4 beats to a measure. And that way a quarter note usually has 1 beat. So it's like, here's an 8 measure song. All right, this is the first measure. Okay, that's 4 beats. Now let's put it together into 8 measures. Anyway, that's 8 measures. And when it dawned on me that letters that make up words are like notes. Individual notes can be thought of as letters. And the communication that they bring to you makes music a universal language. And I really like the tone on that guitar. Anyway, here's some notes. Letters. I'm going to show them to you on the camera. These are actual Hebrew letters. These are original pictographic letters. Let me turn on this little light. I have little lights to light up stuff. Now this is Hebrew. They don't show you this usually. They teach Hebrew, the language, with another set of, it's Babylonian letters called Aramaic. And this is real Hebrew. And it's read from right to left. So we have from your right, this is a sadi, this is a pei, and this, I'm not seeing it on the other side, it's a nun. This is the letter N, actually, nun. And then you've got yod and hey. This spells a word. Do you know what that word is? I'm going to tell you. And this is the way they usually show it to you. I'm going to show you the letters of the foreign language that they use. This is Aramaic, or Aramaic. And they're the same corresponding letters. The sadi. Now wait a minute. The sadi, this is not a Hebrew letter. This is actually an Aramaic letter from Babel. So sadi, pei, nun, yod, hey. What does that spell? Well, it spells Zephaniah, the prophet that they call Zephaniah. And it's a completely different look, isn't it? Well, it isn't a Z. This letter over here is not a Z. It's a sadi. It's a TS sound. It's the same sound and letter that's in the word Natsarim. And this is a letter in Natsarim too, right here. That's a nun, and that's the first letter of Natsarim, right there. And then this is the second letter, actually, in Natsarim. Anyway, the letters are all fouled up because Hebrew has been attacked from within. And we're using a Babylonian script that we brought back from the Babylonian captivity. Not many people know that. Hebrew teachers aren't going to just jump out there and go, now before we begin, I want to let you know that this is wrong. But It is a transliteration, so it's not entirely wrong, but they don't reveal the basic truth to you. I want to show you a Hebrew book to train you with the real Hebrew. It's actually using the correct word. Hebrew became Eberith, or no, it's the other way around. Eberith became Hebrew, the word. This is the great-great-grandfather of Abraham, Eber, and it's his language and the script that he wrote in. And this is the real Hebrew word. I mean, it's Eberith. But there's a book that you can get that's big, and you can order it from Natsarim Life, and it's wonderful. Just look inside here. See all these big letters? I mean, the letters are huge. And you can understand them. This letter that you just saw pop up over here, you know what that letter is? That's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. That's the letter Aleph. And that's the letter Beth below it. And if you look at it sideways, you see what it really is. It's the letter A. And some of the other letters have amazing secrets about them that are the origins of our language and our alphabets. You can pick one of these up from Margaret at natsarimlife.com, and it'll direct you to where to order it, you know. But this is a thick book, and she's coming out with another one, you know, to help train people with verbs and nouns, actual words. This is more of a study on the letters. See, it says Paleo Hebrew letters. And this is book one. Pick one up. It'll shock you. And this is why you see the 4 letters of Yahuwah's name written this way. From right to left, that's Yod, He, Uah, He. Yahuwah. All vowels. Don't let them lie to you and say that they're consonants. Now, today we're going to study a little bit about my messenger. It's not going to be a long video, but this is an amazing thing. This is the letter Yod, Kof, and Aleph, Lamed, Mem. Now, do you know what that spells? It spells Malachi, my messenger. That's what it means. See, a translation is the meaning, but the phonology, or the sound of the name, you don't translate names. You transliterate them, or transliterate them into the sound. It doesn't change into anything else. Now this is the Mem, the Lamed, the Aleph. We saw that when we turned it sideways, remember? And this is a Kof. That's what it really is, a Kof. A Kof. And this is a Yod. This is what the first letter of Yahuwah's name is written in. All right. Let's get into this. You might like it. My Messenger. It's a different book. It's short. It's 4 little chapters. Malachi 1, verse 1 opens up differently than any other book I've ever read. And it seems like somebody else is talking other than the prophet. And that is true, because Yahuwah talks through the prophets. This is what it says in the first verse of Malachi. The message, he's the messenger, that's what it means, my messenger, Malachi. The message of the word of Yahuwah to Yisharal by Malachi. Period. Well, what is that saying? There's a lot in that statement. The message. There's a message. And it was the last thing we heard from all the prophets until Yahuchanan the Immerser was born and started to immerse people to repentance. Well, Yisharal, what is that? The message of the word of Yahuwah to Yisharal. Well, that's what they usually call Israel. the 12 tribes, by Malachi, my messenger. That's what it means. So if we look at it a little bit deeper on another level, we have another thing that appears. The message of the Word of Yahuah. Well, we know who the Word of Yahuah is. It's Yahusha. And he's got a message to the tribes. That's what this is all about. Now, let's dig in and go into another level of this prophet's writings. It's in chapter 3 of Malachi, just 2 verses. Quote, "Then shall those who fear Yahuah speak to one another, and Yahuah listen and hear. And a book of remembrance be written before him of those who fear Yahuah and those who think upon his name. And they shall be mine, said Yahuah, Sabaoth." Yahuah Sabaoth means Yahuah of armies. "On the Yom, or on the day, that I prepare a treasured possession." That's one Hebrew word. It's segula. It means his collection of gems. It's his most treasured possession. And of course, it's not gems, but it refers to a treasure of gems. But it's people. "And I shall spare them as a man spares his own son who serves him." How do you serve your father? You obey him. They're obedient ones, okay? Then, and then he continues, "Then you shall again see the difference between the obedient and the lawless, between one who serves, obeys, Elohim, and one who does not serve him," unquote. That's pretty powerful. There's a special scroll of listing the names of his most treasured possession. Now, in chapter 4, the very last chapter of Malachi, it says this, "For look, the Yom shall come." Now that means day. "The day shall come, burning like a furnace, and all the proud and every lawless one shall be stubble." Did you hear that? Lawless ones not obeying his commandments. "And they shall be stubble. And the day, the Yom, shall come, that shall come, shall burn them up, said Yahuah Sabaoth, which leaves to them neither root nor branch." So they're not going to even be remembered. They're going to be wiped out. "But to you who fear my name, the servant of obedience." Let's stop there for a moment. "But to you who fear my name, the servant of obedience," usually you see translations, "the son, S-U-N, of righteousness, shall rise with healing in its wings." Makes no sense, does it? Because the translators didn't understand the words and the metaphors. "The servant of obedience shall arise with healing in his wings." That's Yahusha too. "And you shall go out and leap for joy like calves from the stall. And you shall trample the lawless ones, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet on the Yom day that I do this, said Yahuah Sabaoth." That's powerful. Now, the next thing we read about is in verse 4. "Remember the Torah," that's the instructions, "of Musha, my servant, which I commanded him in Korab, for all Yisharal, laws and directives. See, I am sending you AliYahu, the prophet, before the great and awesome Yom of Yahuah." Yom of Yahuah is the day of Yahuah. That's what he keeps talking about. Yehukanim was brought forward in time and shown the great and awesome day of Yahuwah, Revelation chapter 1. It wasn't the first day of the week that he was showing him. It was the awesome Yom of Yahuwah, the day of Yahuwah. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the Eretz, the earth, with utter destruction. 1 John chapter 2, verse 4 says, the one saying, I know him, but does not obey his commandments, is a liar. Well, if they're not obeying his commandments, why are you listening to them and tithing to them? Yahusha is the name to call on for deliverance, since his blood was shed to purchase us. Now that's the Ruach HaKodesh, shed his own blood to purchase us. Now that's Acts 20, verse 28, because Yahusha is the Ruach HaKodesh. He's not the J-man. There's only one name. Read Acts 4, verse 12. You've just got a translation that doesn't have it. They took it out. Read your preface. They replaced his name. Yahusha told us how to gain eternal life at Yahuchanan chapter 17, verses 6 through 8. It was so simple. He told the young man, if you seek to enter life, guard the commandments. How many times does he have to say it? I say it a lot too. Well, he says it a lot. He says it far more than I ever could. Pastors teach belief only, resulting in disobedience to the eternal covenant. Read Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 24. He's coming to burn the earth because they have broken the everlasting covenant, the 10 Commandments. Got love? They teach you love. Loving Yahuwah and loving your neighbor. If you don't know what they are and you don't live by them, how are you going to learn how to love? So the pastors of today and all through the centuries have been teaching belief only and parading around saying, we don't have to have those sacraments. Well, you don't, because they made those up too. Resulting in disobedience, to the eternal covenant. The wages of disobeying the commandments, that means you're sinning, is death. The commandments teach us how to love. Most teachers are trained to ignore the commandments and tithe. Now let that kind of hang in the air for a minute and think about it. Who's getting it? The liars. The liars are bilking you. The liars are robbing you. The tithe is food. Read Malachi, this prophet that we are talking about, and you'll see it. So that there may be food in my storehouse. Food. That's what you're to bring to the storehouse. Most people are trained to ignore the commandments and tithe. Yahusha commissioned or ordained, gave us orders to his Natsarim to teach the nations his name and to obey all things that he commanded us to guard. Let's obey them and teach them. Read Matthew chapter 5, verses 19 and 20. The evidence that he is about to return is this. His Natsarim are suddenly reappearing on the earth. Read Yirmiyahu, they call him Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 6. We are those Natsarim. We're teaching you to guard his name and teach it and obey the commandments, the eternal covenant. Thanks for watching. I love you. That's why I do this. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.